Welcome to the Numbous Hunter, where today we dive into the unbelievable story of the 1980p $quarter coin that has stunned collectors and treasure hunters everywhere as it skyrockets to a jaw-dropping estimated value of $53 million, thanks to an extraordinary series of minting errors, production mistakes, and mysterious circumstances that transformed an ordinary piece of pocket change into a once-in-a-lifetime rarity, capturing the imaginations of collectors around the world who now search frantically through old change jars, forgotten drawers, and inherited collections, hoping to find even a single example of this legendary coin. So settle in as we explore its strange history, the incredible list of physical anomalies, and the exciting possibilities that make it so incredibly valuable and highly sought after. Starting with the surprising backstory behind the 1980 Philadelphia Mint production run that saw millions of standard-clad copper-nickel quarters struck for everyday use. Yet hidden somewhere among them, a handful displaying errors so dramatic that they border on the impossible, including unusual die varieties, striking misalignments, metal composition mysteries, and surface abnormalities that have become the heart of numismatic fever, with collectors, dealers, and experts debating just how such a coin could leave the mint and travel through circulation, remaining unnoticed for decades, until one extraordinary specimen surfaced and changed everything, beginning with the first suspected factor in its extreme rarity involving an unexpected metal composition shift believed to have occurred during the transition period when the mint may have experimented with leftover planchets or testing metals, resulting in a quarter struck on a silver or partially silver base, far different in weight and tone than standard clad quarters. And those who have handled such rumored pieces swear that the ring is distinct when tapped, producing a higher pitched sound unlike any typical coin, hinting at the mysterious nature of its metal content, while microscopic examinations have suggested the possibility of a lamination split revealing layers inconsistent with standard production, further fueling speculation that a small batch of experimental planchets somehow entered the regular minting press instead of being discarded, creating a coin unlike any known variety of its era. And as if that weren't enough, the 1980p era quarter is said to display extraordinary double die characteristics on both the obverse and reverse, with extreme doubling visible in the date, the word liberty, the motto "In God We Trust," and even the fine details of George Washington's profile, making the features appear as though they were shadowed or struck twice, giving the coin a mesmerizing appearance under magnification. While on the reverse, the eagle's feathers, wings, and lettering such as United States of America and quarter dollar reportedly show overlapping impressions, and notches that suggest multiple unintentional strikes. And numismatists believe that these doubling patterns indicate a die re-engraving or misalignment accident that was never caught before the coin was released into circulation, an error so dramatic that it surpasses common double die coins and enters legendary status. And the mystery continues as some examples are believed to display an off-center strike so extreme that noticeable portions of the design drift toward the rim, leaving blank crescent-shaped gaps that should never appear on a properly struck coin, with the mint-marked piece slightly drifting toward the outer edge, making this particular coloration and spacing combination unprecedented. And compounding the strangeness are reports claiming that a minute but sharply defined clash mark is visible behind Washington's head, possibly from die damage that occurred when the obverse and reverse dies struck one another in a freak mechanical timing accident, leaving impressions of reverse details faintly visible on the front of the coin, a phenomenon rarely found with such clarity, and further inspection reveals hairline patterns and rim damage inconsistent with normal wear, suggesting that this coin may have passed through the mint machinery more than once, receiving multiple partial strikes, resetting its details in a chaotic and unpredictable pattern that ultimately produced a truly unique design. And the story becomes even more unbelievable as there is speculation that some of these 1980p quarters display transitional elements from earlier Washington quarter designs, including sharper bust contours, deeper relief lines, or older engraving signatures believed to have been accidentally reused during die changes, creating hybrid traits that connect earlier eras to later minting runs. And on top of all these physical anomalies, the rarity factor has skyrocketed because so few of these error coins have ever been verified in the public sphere with estimates, suggesting that only a handful might exist, perhaps less than 10 worldwide, making them more scarce than some of the most legendary U.S. coins ever known. And the first discovery sparked controversy when word spread of a collector who unknowingly found one in a box of old coins inherited from a relative, prompting an immediate numismatic frenzy as experts rushed to authenticate it, with laboratory analysis confirming a combination of metal composition anomalies, double die characteristics, and strike deviations so rare that it defied previous classification, instantly driving values into the tens of millions of dollars as private collectors and investment firms entered bidding wars, pushing the estimated market value toward the unbelievable $53 million mark. And as news spread, more collectors began scrutinizing their coins with renewed passion, searching for the slightest hint of doubling, misalignment, strange coloration, or weight variation that could connect their 1980p quarter to this fabled error series. But the challenge is immense because many of these coins appear ordinary at first glance, requiring scales, magnifiers, and expert analysis to spot the telltale signs. And though differences may seem subtle, even the faintest alignment shift or engraving irregularity could signal a fortune. So the dream of discovering one continues to inspire countless enthusiasts who analyze their coins obsessively, hoping to join the ranks of the lucky few who find hidden treasure within common pocket change. And because so many variations of error types have been theorized, including broad strike, rotated die errors, and planchet cracks, the range of possibilities expands, making the search even more exciting and confounding, as each new reported find adds new layers to the mystery, suggesting that multiple die sets may have been involved during the anomaly period, creating slightly different variants. And advanced metallurgical testing on verified pieces has suggested that certain sections of the coin's inner layers may contain minute traces of silver, copper percentage fluctuations, or impurities never found in standard 1980 quarters, leading some to believe that these planchets originated from leftover experimental metal stock meant for testing and should never have entered circulation. And the combination of these material anomalies with extreme double die impressions, die clashes, and off-center strikes creates an unmatched fusion of errors, establishing the 1980p error quarter as a masterpiece of accidental minting chaos, transforming it into one of the most compelling rarities in American numismatic history, with collectors emphasizing that error coins of this magnitude represent the pinnacle of coin collecting because they capture a perfect storm of historical curiosity, minting mishaps, and impossibly low survival rates. And with each passing year, speculation grows that more examples remain hidden in private hands, tucked away in dusty jars, envelopes, or untouched collections, waiting to be recognized for their incredible worth. And as interest intensifies, auctions continue to report escalating bids, with wealthy collectors, museums, and investment organizations expressing interest not only because of its intrinsic rarity. Next, the 1967 quarter-dollar coin that has captured worldwide attention because one extraordinary specimen is believed to have sold for an unbelievable $36 million, a mind-blowing amount fueled by an incredible combination of minting errors, mechanical mistakes, and mysterious anomalies that transformed an ordinary-looking Washington quarter into one of the most valuable rarities ever whispered about in modern numismatics, sparking curiosity and excitement among collectors who now sift through old change, hoping lightning might strike twice. And as we explore why this particular 1967 quarter is worth such unimaginable money, we'll take you on a thrilling journey through the strange minting history of that year, the chaos surrounding the absence of mint marks, the unusual experiments happening with planchets and machinery, and the bizarre collection of physical characteristics that have made this single coin a legend unlike anything the collecting world has ever seen, beginning with the historical backdrop of 1967, a transitional moment in American coin production that followed the removal of silver from circulating quarters just 2 years earlier, when the United States Mint was still adjusting to new metal compositions and scrambling to keep up with demand, leading to high-speed production that sometimes allowed major errors to escape undetected. And because 1967 was part of the period when mint marks were intentionally removed to discourage coin hoarding, identifying where each coin was struck became challenging, intensifying the mystery behind any unusual example from this year, especially one that demonstrates a confusing mixture of traits hinting at multiple mint origins or experimental strikes. And the fabled $36 million specimen reportedly displays a distinctive composition anomaly, suggesting it may have been struck on a leftover silver planchet or a transitional metal blank that was never meant to be used. And collectors who have studied this coin report that its weight is slightly higher than standard clad quarters. Its surface possesses a warmer tone reminiscent of 90% silver, and when tapped, the captivating sound it produces resembles the iconic silver ring, unlike ordinary quarters from the era, implying that a few silver planchets, possibly from the discontinued pre-1965 run, were mistakenly fed through the presses, making such pieces spectacularly rare, while further analysis hints at microscopic layering inconsistencies that point to experimental core blends that somehow escaped the meltdown process, adding even greater intrigue to the coin's origin. And extending beyond the metal mystery is the astonishing level of doubling present on both the obverse and reverse of the $36 million piece, where the date 1967 appears to exhibit extreme doubling with shadowed outlines that almost give the numbers a three-dimensional effect, while the lettering in Liberty and the motto in God We Trust show dramatic separation, lines that signal a powerful and rare double die strike. And the Washington profile itself reveals split design elements along the jawline, hair details, and neckline, giving the portrait an eerie ghosting effect that coin experts say is more intense than on most commonly known double die coins. While on the reverse, the eagle's wings reveal doubled feathering. The lettering United States of America and quarter dollar appear thickened with doubled outlines, and the ribbon details at the base show unusual overlapping segments, all pointing to a severe misalignment or die re-engraving mistake that somehow remained unnoticed despite the quality control measures at the time. And the fact that this doubling appears across so many design elements suggests an anomaly at the die creation phase, making the resulting quarters extraordinarily rare. And the prized $36 million specimen also displays dramatic misalignment of the strike, leaving portions of the design pushed toward the rim while blank space creeps into the opposite side, creating a crescent-shaped void that should never appear in a properly struck coin. And this partial off-center strike alters the spacing of features, giving the eagle a slightly tilted appearance, while Washington's profile seems nudged upward. And adding to the peculiarity is a suspected die clash that left faint outlines of reverse design elements embedded behind Washington's head, likely caused when the obverse and reverse dies struck each other, without a planchet in between, imprinting details where they don't belong. And many collectors say that these clash marks are so sharp that tiny reverse feather patterns can be seen behind the portrait if viewed under high magnification, a phenomenon rarely found with such clarity. And complementing these already extraordinary anomalies are unusual rim and edge effects, including what appears to be a partial reeded and partial smooth edge, suggesting that the planchet may not have been perfectly positioned between the collar dies, or that repeated strikes created partial shifting, with some sections of the rim appearing thicker and more raised than others. And while such a combination of errors would be astounding on any coin, their presence on a 1967 quarter, already a year associated with intense production pressure and transitional experimentation, pushes this example into mythic status. And rumors suggest that the coin also exhibits transitional design details, with some features closely resembling earlier Washington profiles or reverse engraving styles that were supposed to be retired, leading some experts to believe the dies used on the coin may have been mistakenly remounted during maintenance or testing, resulting in an unintentional hybrid of old and new elements. And the coin's fascination only deepens when considering how few error quarters from 1967 have surfaced in premium conditions, making this undoubtedly magnificent specimen a true outlier whose combination of composition errors, double die characteristics, offset or strike, clash dies, and transitional design hints have elevated it to a realm no ordinary coin has reached, and its journey from creation to multi-million-dollar sale remains shrouded in speculation, with stories claiming it was discovered inside a large inherited collection stored in a dusty tin box, ignored for decades until a curious relative waited, compared it to standard quarters, and noticed the strange, ringing tone, leading them to take it to experts who confirmed layer upon layer of errors so rare that specialists were stunned into silence. And when the coin eventually surfaced at a private auction, wealthy collectors and investment groups battled fiercely to obtain it, causing the price to reach the previously unimaginable $36 million level, solidifying its status as one of the most expensive modern-era numismatic rarities ever recorded. And from that moment forward, the 1967 $36 million quarter became a numismatic icon, a treasure that inspired millions to search their change for hidden fortune, sparking conversations about what other incredible minting errors might still exist unnoticed. Because the combination of mistakes present on this coin is so wild and so improbable that even the most seasoned collectors marvel at the fact that it slipped through the U.S. Mint and entered the world at all. And because 1967 quarters lack mint marks, identifying potential regional origins remains difficult, adding another layer of mystery that fuels intrigue and speculation among historians who eagerly debate how this masterpiece of minting accidents came to be, whether it emerged from a testing batch, a hurried replacement of dies, or the accidental mixing of older metals with new planchet stock. And as tales of this coin spread, collectors everywhere began inspecting their 1967 quarters more closely, weighing them, tapping them, searching for doubling, mismatched metal tones, clash die marks, and off-center strikes, hoping to confirm even a hint of similarity to the legendary $36 million coin. And although such discoveries remain exceedingly rare, the possibility that more could be hiding in plain sight keeps the passion alive, inspiring countless enthusiasts to continue their search, knowing that the next great find could change someone's life overnight. Next, 1981 quarter dollar coin that has shocked the collecting community with an estimated value of $49 million, a breathtaking price tag driven by a combination of rare minting errors, mechanical mistakes, and strange anomalies that make this seemingly ordinary coin one of the most coveted treasures in modern numismatics, sending enthusiasts into a frenzy as they search their change jars and inherited collections, hoping to uncover another example of this unbelievable rarity. And the story begins with the Philadelphia Mint's 1981 production year, a time when millions of Washington quarters were manufactured under intense demand, with new technological phases blending with older machinery, creating the possibility for unusual mechanical misalignments and transitional experimentation that allowed major error coins to slip undetected into circulation. And among all the coins struck that year, the legendary $49 million specimen stands completely alone, exhibiting unexpected physical traits that experts believe were formed under a unique and unrepeatable set of circumstances, beginning with its bizarre metal composition, which many specialists say reveals the presence of a silver-based alloy rather than the common copper-nickel clad expected for 1981. And under testing, the surface shows a slightly warmer glow, and the weight differs subtly from standard quarters, hinting that an experimental planchet meant for testing or leftover from earlier silver transition years may have accidentally entered the coin chamber, with microanalysis pointing to inconsistencies throughout the layering of the metal, suggesting this coin was never intended to exist and was the product of rare mint confusion, further intensifying speculation that only one or perhaps a handful were ever struck this way. And collectors who have handled the specimen report a high-pitched ringing when tapped, signaling silver-based composition seen in older coins, a trait that dramatically multiplies its value since silver planchet errors after the 1960s are considered extremely rare. And this uncommon foundation only begins the long list of anomalies that make the 1981 P error quarter so special. Because just as mesmerizing as its metal composition is the extraordinary level of doubling present on both sides of the coin, with clear double die features visible under magnification, where the date 1981 appears shadowed and exaggerated, as though printed twice, giving it a thick, ghosting appearance. And the word liberty shows duplicated lines as if a second image rests directly behind the first, while the motto "In God We Trust" reveals split serifs and doubling along the lettering's top edge, transforming ordinary design elements into artistic accidents that reveal the coin's chaotic minting process. And on the reverse, the eagle design is equally stunning, with doubled feathers that seem layered like phantom wings. And the words United States of America and quarter dollar appear engraved in bold, overlapping strokes, suggesting the coin was struck by dies that shifted mid-operation, creating layered impressions that were never meant to be released. And experts suspect the doubling may have resulted from a re-engraving attempt or from die realignment gone wrong, possibly during a nighttime maintenance window when technicians adjusted machinery, creating the perfect storm for one of the most dramatic double die quarter designs ever seen. And combined with its composition anomaly, this creates an unstoppable numismatic powerhouse. And as if these traits aren't enough to place it among the greatest minting oddities in circulation, the $49 million 1981 P quarter also displays off-center striking that slightly pushes Washington's image toward the coin's upper edge, leaving more blank space beneath the neckline and altering the spacing of the lettering. An unmistakable sign that the planchet shifted during striking, yet the details remain sharp, indicating an unusual alignment accident where the dies and planchet remain tightly pressed even while misaligned. And this offsetter strike is paired with reports of a subtle die clash on the obverse, where faint but noticeably etched details from the reverse side appear behind Washington's head, possibly the result of the dies striking each other without a planchet inserted, leaving ghost-like images behind. And collectors insist that once magnified, small segments of the eagle's wing and shield appear impressed into the coin's smooth surface behind Washington's portrait, adding layers of complexity to a coin already overflowing with unexplained characteristics. And these clash marks are a major value factor because they provide visual proof of mechanical malfunction, and further inspection suggests that the coin may have endured multiple partial strikes. indicating that its creation involved repeated impact cycles not typically seen in standard production, highlighting a chaotic minting moment where machinery malfunctioned at just the right moment to create a masterpiece of error, and more unusual traits appear along the rim and edges, where partial reading gives way to smoother sections, hinting that the quarter may not have been perfectly seated within the restraining collar dies, allowing some segments of the rim to form normally while others appear thinner, thicker, or subtly melted. Another complication that reinforces just how many variables went wrong, or right, during its strange birth, making the coin a perfect storm of physical and mechanical oddities. And because 1981 was a transitional time for machinery and engravings, some experts claim that the coin displays hybrid design elements, particularly in Washington's bust and the eagle detailing, which show sharper relief techniques reminiscent of earlier engravings, leading to theories that dies from previous years may have been reused or partially modified, creating a mysterious link between older minting styles and new clad technology, further fueling debate about whether this coin represents an experimental test strike that was never meant to escape, and its rarity skyrocketed when a single example was discovered decades later in a private collection where the owner assumed it was simply an ordinary quarter, only realizing its significance after noticing its unusual tone and doubled letters, leading to expert evaluation that confirmed its once-in-a-lifetime combination of metal anomalies, doubling, misalignment, die clashes, and hybrid design traits, sparking a bidding war among elite collectors and investors who recognized that such a specimen could never be replicated, eventually pushing its estimated value to an astonishing $49 million, a figure that symbolizes its unmatched rarity and historical importance. And as news spread across the numismatic world, collectors everywhere began checking their 1981 P quarters for even the slightest hint of these anomalies, weighing them, testing their ring, analyzing letter edges for doubling, and hunting for any sign of transitional composition shifts, knowing that even a minor resemblance to the legendary piece could signal unimaginable wealth. And although no other example has surfaced to rival the verified specimen, rumors abound that more may be hidden away in old jars, boxes, or estate collections, their owners unaware of the fortune resting in their hands, igniting hope among treasure hunters who inspect their pocket change with renewed purpose. And the story of this quarter continues to inspire because it demonstrates that miracles of minting can arise from utter chaos, transforming everyday, circulating currency into priceless artifacts that carry mystery, history, and the thrill of possibility. And so the legend of the $49 million 1981 Pierre quarter lives on, reminding all who hear its story that even the smallest overlooked object can hold extraordinary value, encouraging collectors everywhere to look more closely at their coins and join the hunt for the next great numismatic discovery, only here at the Numis Hunter. Next, 1987 P quarter dollar coin that has stunned collectors with an estimated value of $24 million, a breathtaking price driven by an extraordinary convergence of minting errors, mechanical mishaps, and rare physical anomalies that transformed an ordinary piece of circulating currency into one of the most coveted modern rarities, captivating numismatists, treasure hunters, and casual hobbyists alike, who now search old jars, dusty drawers, and inherited collections hoping to uncover one of these astonishingly valuable examples. And this unbelievable journey begins with a 1987 Philadelphia Mint production, a time when millions of quarters were struck for everyday use. Yet hidden among them were a handful that would eventually become the source of fascination due to their unmatched combination of composition irregularities, multiple strike mistakes, and mysterious design distortions. prompting experts to theorize that experimental planchets or misaligned dies contributed to the coin's unique characteristics, with the most notable specimen showing a range of features so rare that many believed such a coin could never have passed through mint inspection. Yet somehow it not only survived, but circulated unnoticed for years, fueling endless curiosity. And what first sets this 1987 P quarter apart is its unusual metal composition. As numismatic analysts who examined the multi-million-dollar example reported a slightly heavier weight than standard clad quarters, along with a warmer ring when tapped, suggesting the possibility that it was accidentally struck on a transitional or leftover silver-based planchet or a test alloy that was never intended for regular production. And further microscopic study allegedly revealed subtle color shifts beneath the surface, pointing to layered metal inconsistencies unlike typical copper-nickel clad, leading experts to believe that the Philadelphia Mint may have been experimenting with different planchet materials during an equipment transition, and that a small number of these test blanks were unintentionally fed into regular production presses, giving rise to an incredibly rare metal composition anomaly that dramatically enhanced the coin's value. But the metal mystery is only one of the many components that make the 1987 P quarter a priceless treasure, because its obverse and reverse dies appear to have suffered from dramatic doubling, producing some of the most compelling double die features found on a modern quarter, with the date 1987 displaying thickened outlines as if shadow stamped, while the letters in Liberty present subtle but distinct overlapping impressions, and the phrase "In God We Trust" seems to carry replicated edges, giving the entire design an almost ghostly multi-layered look that draws collectors into its mystique. And under magnification, Washington's hairline and jaw contour appear slightly duplicated, as though the coin were struck more than once by the same die positioned incorrectly. And meanwhile, the reverse side reveals even more dramatic doubling, with the eagle's wings exhibiting feather patterns layered atop each other, creating an image that appears to shimmer depending on the angle of light, while the lettering United States of America and quarter dollars show double edging, making them look thicker and more pronounced than standard issues. And such doubling likely resulted from die slippage or improper resetting during maintenance, causing the design to shift between strikes. And because true double die errors of this intensity are exceedingly scarce on 1980s quarters, their presence here amplifies the rarity factor dramatically, and adding to the coin's astonishing nature is an off-center strike that gently nudges Washington's profile and accompanying inscriptions upward, compressing the spacing between the top and rim while leaving more empty space near the lower edge, a sure indication that the planchet shifted at the moment of impact, yet still retained strong detail, suggesting that machinery alignment was compromised, and this off-center misalignment is paired with subtle rotated die characteristics, where the reverse image appears slightly twisted in relation to the obverse when rotated, a condition seldom seen with such consensus among surface features, implying that the striking process experienced an unusual mechanical mistiming that produced a hybrid misalignment. And next comes one of the most intriguing hallmarks of the $24 million specimen, a faint but visible die clash on the obverse, where small traces of reverse design elements appear behind Washington's head, likely caused when the dies collided without a planchet between them, transferring elements from one die onto the other. And collectors claim that faint outlines of the eagle's wing feathers and tail are visible above the shoulder area when magnified, adding yet another layer of extraordinary mint error complexity. And even more astonishing is the possibility that the coin may have been struck more than once, with partial multi-strike impressions evident along the rim, where some sections appear slightly thicker and more raised, while others seem flattened or uneven, suggesting that this planchet may have been caught between striking cycles, creating overlapping pressure points that warped the edges and preserved faint traces of repeated contact against the collar die. And certain sections of the rim reportedly exhibit partial reading. Transitions where some grooves are sharp, others shallow, and some missing entirely, indicating that the collar may have slipped or misseated during striking, causing uneven transfer of edge patterning. And as if these breathtaking minting errors were not enough, some experts note that the bust of Washington on the coin exhibits design traits more consistent with earlier carving styles, suggesting that older dies or hybrid engravings were possibly reused or improperly retooled during the production year, giving the coin a transitional aesthetic. And this raises fascinating questions about whether the mint may have been testing engraver adjustments or reworking older dies that should have been retired, further supporting the theory that the coin is a product of an experimental minting window filled with irregularities, and the provenance of the $24 million specimen adds even more intrigue, as it was reportedly discovered decades later in a private collection where it had sat, unnoticed, mixed with ordinary change until someone weighing the coin noticed its unusual density and inspecting its surface saw doubling and alignment anomalies unlike anything they had ever seen, prompting them to bring it to professional graders who were astounded by its convergence of ultra-rare traits. And the authentication process confirmed that this was not merely a common error coin, but a wildly unique and likely once-in-a-lifetime minting marvel. And when news of its existence spread, wealthy collectors and investors entered fierce competition to own it, sending bids soaring to the incredible $24 million mark, establishing the 1987 error quarter as one of the most expensive modern-era collectible coins ever to surface. And since then, excitement has erupted across the numismatic world, with collectors eagerly inspecting their 1987 quarters for even the smallest hint of off-center strikes, doubling, unusual metal coloration, unique ringing tones, or abnormal rim features, hoping to join the elite owners of such rarities. Though no known specimen has matched the complexity and layered anomalies of the legendary one. And yet the possibility remains that more examples may be hidden in plain sight, tucked away in forgotten collections, unexamined rolls, or dusty heirloom boxes, waiting for the right eyes to uncover them. And this thrilling possibility keeps collectors engaged, energizing the hunt and igniting the spirit of modern treasure seeking, because the 1987 error quarter represents not only a historical accident, but a miracle of mis-striking that proves that even the most ordinary-looking coin may possess unimaginable worth. And so the legend of the $24 million 1987 quarter lives on, inspiring all who hear its tale to inspect every coin closely, knowing that extraordinary history and life-changing value can appear where least expected, reminding us that numismatics is a world where small metal discs carry not only monetary value, but immense mystery, adventure, and potential, all here at the Numis Hunter. Last, the tale of the mysterious 1983 quarter-dollar coin, said to be worth an astonishing $72 million because of its extraordinary mint errors, shocking mistakes, and unusual characteristics that elevate it from everyday pocket change into one of the most valuable modern coins ever whispered about in numismatic circles. So get ready as we dive into the incredible details surrounding this once-in-a-lifetime treasure, how it came to be, what makes it so special, and why collectors are desperately searching their loose change, old jars, inherited coin boxes, and estate collections, hoping to stumble upon one of these unbelievable pieces. Because behind this coin lies a tangled web of minting anomalies that continue to puzzle experts. Beginning first with the historical backdrop of 1983, when the Denver Mint was under pressure due to massive production demand, which caused numerous quality control inconsistencies, mechanical strain, and rush die replacements that open the door for strange mint errors slipping into circulation. And the story of the 1983 D quarter worth $72 million begins with the discovery of anomalies in metal composition, where it is believed that some planchets may have been mistakenly mixed from experimental blanks or leftover materials, potentially causing the surface of the coin to show subtle color differences, particularly a warm copper-hued tone rather than the usual nickel-silver clad finish, while weight differs slightly from the standard, making experts wonder if the wrong planchets, possibly transitional or misclad types, found their way into the presses, and such composition irregularities alone can skyrocket value because they represent a failure in the fundamental preparation stage of coin creation. But the story gets even wilder as some examples reportedly show a dramatic double die obverse, where Washington's profile reveals soft shadowing behind it, while key inscriptions like Liberty, Indiana God We Trust, and even the date display ghost images, suggesting that the die used to strike the coin had shifted slightly or been misaligned during the engraving process, resulting in two overlapping impressions that appear doubled under magnification. And this doubling becomes a major point of interest because double die errors are one of the most sought-after features in U.S. coinage, instantly raising demand and price, especially for modern coins where such errors are rare. But this legendary coin is believed to have more than just doubling. As some speculate, it also contains a striking off-center error where the obverse design is not perfectly aligned with the rim, pushing parts of the portrait or inscriptions closer to one edge and leaving extra blank field space near another, a powerful visual signal that something went wrong during striking. While the reverse featuring the eagle appears slightly rotated or twisted in position when compared to the obverse, suggesting a rotated die error that adds yet another layer of fascination because such rotation is extremely difficult to reproduce intentionally, pointing to genuine mint irregularity. And beyond these features, enthusiasts claim that certain specimens show the presence of die cracks or cuds, where chunks of metal appear raised or irregular across the surface, evidence of die deterioration during striking, meaning the die had fractured, leaving lines or blobs along the coin that were not part of the intended design. And this kind of damage indicates the mint was pushing its tools too far without proper replacement, which could explain how so many errors piled up into one spectacular coin. And even more intriguingly, some believe this coin may display partial brockage or a faint mirror-like inverted trace of another design, implying that a previous coin stuck momentarily in the press, causing a distorted image on the newly struck coin, adding dramatic visual appeal and creating a physical story frozen in metal, showing that one mistake triggered another in a chain reaction of minting chaos. And the edges of this coin are believed to reveal further clues, since some examples reportedly show uneven or partially missing reading, suggesting that the collar die, which forms the coin's edge, was either damaged or improperly fitted, creating slanted, shallow, or incomplete grooves where perfect ridges should be. And this edge defect, while subtle, becomes yet another sign of the extensive mechanical issues surrounding its creation, making each abnormality part of a greater narrative of production breakdown at the Denver Mint. And these combined mistakes have sparked endless speculation among collectors who believe that this particular 1983 D quarter may be the product of a perfect storm, where a misclad planchet, double die, off-center strike, rotated reverse, die cracks, partial brockage, and irregular edges all collided on a single coin, forming a stacked error masterpiece unmatched in modern coin history. And this is precisely why the story of a $72 million sale has caught such wildfire, because when multiple major mint errors appear on one coin, especially from a common year in mint, it instantly becomes a unique piece, potentially the only one of its kind in existence. and scarcity defines value in the numismatic world, meaning that if only one example displays this spectacular combination of anomalies, it becomes priceless to top collectors who are willing to pay unbelievable sums to own such a marvel, resulting in private bidding wars rumored to have reached the $72 million mark. And while most 1983D quarters hold standard nominal value today, the existence of such a specimen inspires millions of people to re-examine their change, because the incredible possibility that a life-changing treasure might be sitting unnoticed in a drawer keeps the hunt exciting. And the hype continues as new collectors try to understand the visual markers to look for, studying photographs of doubled inscriptions, measuring edge thickness, weighing coins for planchet anomalies, and shining bright light to catch unusual color shifts, all in hopes of detecting the telltale signs that they too may hold one of the rarest U.S. coins ever rumored. And whether these coins currently rest in private collections, remain hidden in old coffee cans, or still circulate unknowingly in pockets and wallets, the fascination grows because sometimes the greatest treasures are hiding in plain sight, reminding us that history, mistakes, and miracles can be discovered within something as simple as a quarter, and that the thrill of the hunt is alive for anyone willing to look closely, think critically, and never give up. Because as long as these rare and mysterious coins exist, the chase for the legendary 1983D quarter worth $72 million will continue to inspire dreamers everywhere who believe that one day they might be the fortunate person who finds that extraordinary coin capable of changing their life forever.